Hello, everyone. This is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and it is 2 a.m. and still going through depression. And now I'm just making YouTube videos now, and I'm just trying to do something to stay sane. And we're gonna talk about Glee today, and this is a topic that I'm super behind on, and I'm sorry, and I know it's not relevant. On the positive side, I doubt anyone will watch this, but I'm just gonna discuss it because this is what happens when you're going through depression. You start thinking about things, and you start thinking about things you don't really think were that important to you, and then they kind of somehow are. In 3 months, I might even just look at this and go like, "Oh God, seriously." But I'm going to talk about it anyway. Specifically, I'm going to talk about Cory, Monteith, and Glee. Now, I'm going to be honest. Not that I want to take away from Monolith's death. It was terrible. Obviously, it's a waste. It's a shame. I didn't really think too much about it when he died. But I thought enough about it that it got me curious to how they were going to handle it on the show. I had started watching Glee first season, was a fairly big fan of it, and then midway through the second season, I started to lose interest. I think I was having an issue with the writing, and I don't know exactly what the issue was, but the season that Cory Monteith died, and I think that was the third, or maybe it was the fourth, I don't know. But whatever season he died, I was now officially curious. How are they going to handle this? Like, how are they going to handle the character's death? And so I actually remember watching that season. I started watching the season, I should say. I started watching it to see what would actually happen. How would they deal with it? And they made a big deal, like, yeah, this is the tribute episode where we're saying goodbye to him, all that jazz. But I watched the show. I watched up until that tribute episode, and this was when I realized Glee was truly not that good of a show. And in fact, it even made me realize that for as ballsy as the Raiders thought they were by putting in such social commentary about abortion and gay people and civil rights, they didn't know how to deal with a hard reality themselves sometimes, because the way they dealt with Cory Monteith's death was to simply not acknowledge it. No, I'm serious. That's how it happened. Now, granted, yes, there was an episode that dealt with the character being dead and how everyone felt about that, but his death was not discussed. They didn't tell you how he died. They didn't tell you why he died. They didn't tell you the circumstances. They didn't write anything about the death of the character Finn he played. He was just not there one episode. In one episode, he was dead. And I even remember watching, this is seriously where they're going to go with this. This is seriously how they're going to deal with it. And yeah, I was like, that actually pissed me off so much more than anything. Because here's the thing. Some people told me at the time, well, they're trying to be sensitive. The fans are sensitive. It's exploitive. It's a business. Here's the sad reality, folks. TV shows are business. When a person dies, something has to be done with that character. Either they have to write the character out of the show, they have to kill that character, or they have to recast it. Most of the time, they will write the character out of the show. And also, most of the time, they will kill that character. It's not fun. No one wants to actually do it. But they got to do it. When John Ritter died during a filming of 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, I mean, granted, he was the star of the show, so it's not like they could ignore it, but they had to deal with it. And so they wrote a funeral episode, and they discussed his death. Now, Finn, again, he wasn't the main character, but he was one of the main characters. And to just ignore it was such a slap in the face to the fans, showed such disrespect, contempt for the audience, that they couldn't handle a little reality in their show, even though they're going so far as to acknowledge the character died. They're just not acknowledging how he died. Now, of course, you don't have to make it about him ODing if you don't want him to. Have him get hit by a bus or something. Do something, though. Don't just say, oh, he's alive in one episode and he's dead the next episode. In fact, should Glee ever have a long life in syndication, sort of doubt it will at this point. It definitely was a flavor of the month type thing. But should it ever show up in reruns, let's say, or heck, streaming. Let's say it's on Netflix or Hulu and people are streaming, new fans. They're streaming the show and they're going episode after episode after episode. They're going to get to a point where all of a sudden a key character is dead. And they might not be aware that the actor died and that was all they could do. All they're going to think is, what happened? Like, did I miss an episode? Is it gone? But no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just alive one episode and he's dead the next episode. Real great, folks. Real great. And you know what? I've heard people criticize the show like it got so much worse after the first season. And I'm tending to believe that because, again, I stopped watching through the second season. Can't exactly remember why. Probably was the writing. This season definitely showed that these writers did not know what they were doing. They just, they were faced with a challenge and they didn't know how to meet that challenge. And it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. I didn't watch the rest of the season after that. Felt there was no point. Felt there was absolutely no point. If the writers couldn't even respect me to give a character a proper send-off, like a real send-off, and not one that was based on, well, everybody in the real world knows the actor died. They need to give you don't know that the audience knows that the actor has died. Assume that they don't. Write him out. Didn't do it. So disrespectful. So lazy. So weak. Didn't work. So yeah, that's when I stopped watching Glee. That's when I realized what a super bad show it really was. And you know what? It's kind of a shame because I kind of like the idea. I like the idea of a musical show. That's why I like Gallivant. That's why the musical numbers in Family Guy are increasingly becoming the best thing about that show. I like music, and I would like to see it return to television a little bit more often. And Glee, for a brief time, did that, but it didn't seem to realize it was just an escapist show, and it tried to be better than it was, and it could never achieve that. And at a key moment when they could prove that they had their stuff together, that they knew how to do a dramatic family show, even though the show's way too edgy for families, I think. Regardless what side of the political spectrum you're on, they failed in the end game. And, well, yeah, no, that was just not cool in my book. So that's my experience with Glee and how they handled the death of Finn and Cory Monteith. It definitely destroyed what little respect I had for the show at that point. And now I know we're maybe 3 or 4 years late on the topic, but what do you guys think? Did you like that episode? Do you think they did him justice or not? I'd like to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.